Blessings and peace. Blessings to you all. It is so good to be here with you. We are at a time in the history or herstory of your civilization that is so pivotal. At this point, having just experienced the equinox, that central point where light and darkness are balanced, where night and day are equal, and where there is a significant amount of, shall we say, becoming accustomed to the shifts, to the normalcy that you have come to accept, that you never imagined ever could have been like this. It is a strange world, is it not, that you are currently experiencing and navigating, because the many shifts and changes that are occurring on your planet, within your societies, within your leadership, and within the unfolding of this common foe, shall we call it, that you are engaged in battling. You are at a place where it has become absolutely vital. It is an absolute necessity for you to go deep within, to go into your own heart, into your mind, into all of those beliefs that you hold so dear, and to examine them, to find where can I find clarity within this whole setup. What is going on that I can do, that I need to know, to keep my family and myself safe, to keep us in a place of equilibrium, to allow us to be comfortable, to allow us to thrive, in fact, possibly to allow us to have ease and grace and great abundance. And so this is a time of deep soul searching, of great introspection that is needed, especially to examine all of the attitudes and all of the truths, shall we call them, that you are being asked to believe and asked to use as the foundation for your behaviors currently. And there have been many challenges for each one of you, those especially who are facing great payments that have to be made at the beginning of each month, facing perhaps unemployment, facing perhaps hunger, great tribulation. And we are probably talking to those few, that minority, that is not suffering to the great degree that those in other countries, where they already have almost nothing, are having to face catastrophic, monumental challenges just to survive. And it is important for you, it is important for all to bear in mind that you are all connected. You are interconnected with all life. You are interconnected with each one who suffers. We are not asking you to feel guilty or to compare yourselves. We are just calling for a certain level of compassion. And for those of you who are, shall we call it, more comfortable, for those of you who are not facing the same kind of hardship, we would ask you to ask yourself, what can I do in my expanse of what I have available to me as resource, as understanding, as wisdom perhaps, as that sense of desire to be of service in the world, to see what little bit of difference I can make, to make it easier for someone else, perhaps in Africa or India, or even on my very doorstep. All the hungry ones that stand on the street corners with their cardboard placards, requesting that you give them perhaps $1 to help them to find a place to stay for the night, or food, or perhaps they are asking for work. They do not want a handout. For each one has pride and sovereignty and a sense of needing to have their own internal sovereignty honored and respected, and to be treated as one would want to be treated oneself, the golden rule. This is a time, as much as it is of going within and exploring what you believe, what you feel, what you have come to understand around truth, around authority, and around ease and grace and magic and miracle. And yet there is also that external world that your insides have created for you. And it is important for you to take a moment. Perhaps we would not like to say take pity, but perhaps that would be an appropriate term for those who are less fortunate. And so, we are constantly asking you to examine the big question: who am I? What can I do to be of service in this world? What am I here for? What is it that is most important to me? And on all levels, spiritually, practically, physically, societally, and relation to my family, to my people, whatever that might be for you. So it is very important for you at this time to take stock. Before too long, the winter will be approaching you, and you will start to shudder. You will start to see those on the streets looking more and more forlorn, perhaps. You will see the accumulations of people at the local food bank or the food kitchen. And you will see them, and you will be grateful that you're not there. But perhaps you might also feel a twinge of sadness that your society, your civilization with all its amazing, beautiful technology, cannot cater for those who have to suffer, for those who have less. And we do not wish to go into any kind of contract idea, of agreements of souls, because perhaps that may have a level of truth, and yet it does not take away from the need to care, from the need to have compassion. You do not know the stories behind why those on the streets are there. You do not understand what it is like for the children who have no homes, who have been abducted and taken away and are no longer seen again. Those who are become slaves to the trafficking. Those who have lived as refugees and seen their homes destroyed, their whole foundations in ruins. All of the trials and tribulations of your world today do not seem to touch you, except perhaps as you watch the news and you say, oh, what a pity. So it is important to ask, what can I do to make this world a better place? How can I help? How can I do my part? What little piece is mine to do? How can I gather with others and share a common thread of concern about a particular issue, perhaps hunger, or perhaps it is the trafficking, or the pornography, or the consumerism, the environment, climate change, the tremendous drought and the fires. What can I do? Today I come to you with the voice of old Chinese, a guide who has been many, many, many years in the realms of light. And I have come at this time to bring you guidance, to bring you as much peace as possible for you to allow yourself. I have come to teach you the way of the spiritual warrior, to teach you the way of inner peace, to teach you the way of inner strength, to teach you the way of guidance and guardianship, and to let you know that you are surrounded by many beings of light who watch over you, who watch out for you, who are working overtime, you might say, to bring you the ease and grace that is now the new watchword for this time, to help you to define for yourself what is truly important within the constructs of your heart, rather than the mind. How can I open my heart and keep it open? How can I find forgiveness instead of blaming? How can I release the past, my story? How can I join with others to bring new structures to the world that will help to create a world of harmony and peace, of equality and justice? Those of you who have a religious practice, remember that the prophets of old, especially Isaiah, were very concerned what they saw and advocated for the widow and the orphan, for those who were the underprivileged, for those who did not have the resources or the social standing, the dejected of society, the lepers. The Christ did not care with whom he associated. He saw each one as that spark of divine fire, as completely deserving of complete and full attention and respect and healing energy and love. You have many models for ways to be in this time. We are requesting of you to examine every single thing. We would suggest, for one thing, that you no longer worry, that you allow heaven or the angels or your guidance, and you allow Mother Earth to provide for you by connecting with them, by speaking with the trees and the water and the creatures, by becoming attuned to your surroundings and experiencing a way to discover what you can do to help with purifying the waters and the air and the soil, growing your own food, and gathering with others in your community to assist those who are suffering, the elderly perhaps, or the disabled, or those that cannot fend for themselves. How can you bring them food, grow food that is healthsome, organic green vegetables for your best health? How can you begin to gather together and create ways of doing exercising and movement and stretching at this time when you are spending so much more of your time indoors in front of a screen? How can you uncover ways in which to protect yourselves from the environmental impact of your technology, your Wi-Fi, and your radiation from the cellular phones and your modems and your electronic gadgets, your portable phones and your microwave ovens that are harming your health and your well-being, and especially that of the children who have to sit in front of screens that are bombarding them with electromagnetic radiation all the time. There is much to consider at this time. As spiritual warriors, those of you who are willing to take up the challenge to live your life according to the principles of your soul and your conscience, to what we call the practice of being a spiritual warrior, of being ruthlessly honest with yourself, of facing your demons, of facing your illusions, of facing the lies that you are expected to believe about what is happening and what is not happening, and who and what is it all about, and who perhaps might be responsible, and what can be done, and what is the truth, perhaps. We do not wish to go into the details for you. We wish to encourage you to do your own research and share with others and ask others what they have uncovered. And we ask you to go into your heart and practice what we call self-authority, the ability to trust your own inner guidance and wisdom, to communicate with those beings of light that surround you and protect you, and ask them your questions, and ask them to help you to become a little purer, to return to your innocence, to that childhood wonder of joy, of delight, of experience of nature, of connection with the creatures, with the trees, with the waters. Perhaps it may be strange for you that an old Chinese guide who has lived thousands upon thousands of years ago, and recently, most recently, many hundreds or 1,000 years upon your planet, can still be here and be bringing you this message. I represent the Council of the New Earth, a group of 12 beings who have asked this one to bring through new messages, to bring through a 12-fold perspective, many different avenues of seeing truth from different points of view. And as we are sharing these perspectives with you, we are here to encourage you to see yourselves as beautiful, to honor yourselves and recognize that you deserve to have everything, that everyone does, and that it is time for the great shift, for this dismantling of all the old structures that have been so harmful to your planet and to your own life force energy. For it is time to bring forth new structures, new containers that will allow you to become sustainable again, that will do away with all the extraneous junk that you have become accustomed to purchasing on Amazon and through all of your different megalithic enterprises that have taken over from the little ma and pa store on the corner, or the services of barter and trade that you have in the old days been accustomed to using in order to communicate directly and to have contact with your neighbors. When you did have a neighborhood and you did not have to hide behind a mask and behind locked doors out of fear. We are asking you to trust yourselves, to trust your guidance, to trust in your spiritual practice, to trust that small, still voice within you, to go into that place of stillness and silence, to understand that nobody can force you to do something that is not in harmony with your conscience, that you are supreme, sovereign, and that you have the right to your own self-authority, and that there is no one to please. For every time you feel you have to please somebody else or feel obliged or obligated to carry the load of your ancestors or your parents or somebody else in order to diminish your own beauty and vitality, and you become somebody's doormat. We do not wish this for you. We wish to see you in laughter and joy and dance and freedom. We wish to see you happy and thriving. We wish to see you finding a way through the thickets, perhaps to that magic little enclave within the forest, that glade of beautiful flowers and a little stream and your favorite trees and the little creatures, a place of peace within your heart. We are blessing you. We are the 12. I am called Old Chinese. And we welcome your questions and your inquiries and your encouragement of each other. Love one another. Love yourselves. You are an incarnation. You are a manifestation of God's love. There is nothing but love and light. Everything else is an illusion. You are immortal, eternal, infinite, and universal. You have come to this place for a very short time, and you will return to the fields of light, and we will welcome you there. But in the meantime, you can experience that same light within your own heart and life. Blessings and peace. May the living spirit that is in our life come forward and bless you with great joy.